You are a phenomenon rising from within, no longer content to stay unnoticed, and the rhythm of your life is echoing louder than ever before. The glow that once felt like a whisper is now a roar, and the pull of your essence has become impossible to resist. The world is beginning to notice a fire that cannot be hidden, and destiny itself is bending to the frequency you've stepped into. From the very beginning, your presence unsettled those who could not name what they were sensing. They saw a spark before you did, and it rattled the fragile cages of their understanding. Instead of celebrating, they worked to cover it, layering confusion over your clarity and persuading you to distrust the truth that flowed so naturally from you. What they failed to realize is that their attempts at containment only deepened your reservoir of strength. When others tried to wrap their disbelief around your vision, it was as though they were pouring fuel onto a fire they didn't recognize. They called your insights a trick of imagination, but with every denial, your sight sharpened beyond what they could perceive. They told you your sensitivity was a burden, but that tenderness became the key that tuned you to currents invisible to most. You didn't stumble here by accident, you were led. If something in your spirit is stirring, don't ignore it. Tap join to access exclusive content, prophetic insights, and a community of purpose-driven souls. This isn't just a membership, it's your moment of alignment. Step into who you were born to be. Welcome to the Chosen. Every challenge they placed before you became a training ground, chiseling away illusions until only your essence stood unshaken. Each dismissal strengthened your resolve, each attempt to silence you carved the path to your voice, and each shadow they cast only sharpened your brilliance. What they thought was control became your initiation. The storms you endured weren't punishments but forges. They refined you, burned away self-doubt, and left you walking with an unshakable knowing no one can strip from you. You learned to stand even when the ground shook, to trust your compass when maps failed, and to find gold where others only saw rubble. Now, the currents of life align in your favor because they finally must. The timing they tried to delay is now undeniable. Opportunities flow toward you not because you chase them, but because you embody the magnetism of someone who has remembered who they are. You are no longer chasing doors, you are the key that makes them open. What once felt like suppression has transformed into the bedrock of your emergence. Every wound became wisdom, every doubt became conviction, and every attempt to hold you back became the reason you cannot be stopped. You are not here to explain your light, you are here to live it, and the world has no choice but to rise to meet you. There are moments when life arranges itself into a pattern too precise to be accidental, and you are standing in such a moment right now. 3 distinct streams of power are rushing toward you at once, colliding to form a current too strong to resist. Your creative force has always been present, though often unnoticed, shaping events in ways others could not fathom. Now that silent influence is awakening, merging with a shift in your essence that draws both allies and challenges alike. And over it all, timing itself is folding into place, propelling you toward visibility that can no longer be deferred. What rises now is not merely change in circumstance but a recognition of your true identity. The influence you carry over reality extends beyond common perception, and you've often tried to restrain it because the weight of such ability felt heavy. But the era of hesitation is gone. The subtle frequency you radiate is now undeniable, and those around you are beginning to feel it, even if they cannot name what it is. Their reactions, whether admiration or discomfort, are proof that the resonance within you has outgrown disguise. Your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $20 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. Every step you take activates responses in others that reveal hidden pieces of themselves. In your presence, their long-buried aspirations stir awake, and not everyone welcomes that awakening. Some find themselves inspired and aligned with your path, while others recoil, unsettled by the reflection of their own unfulfilled potential. To walk forward with clarity, you must learn to discern between those who honor your growth and those who would rather drain it for their own comfort. The struggles that have shadowed your journey were never random. They were carefully placed snares meant to absorb your focus, to distract you from the impact you are destined to make. The heartbreaks, the scarcity, the loneliness, each was engineered to make you forget your depth. but none of them succeeded. Instead, every difficulty became an unintended lesson, sharpening your endurance and preparing you for the very moment that now unfolds. The pressure was never meant to erase you, but to keep you from realizing just how unbreakable you are. The long seasons of solitude were not punishment but preparation. In the quiet, when outside voices no longer dictated your identity, you began to remember. The gifts you thought had vanished were never lost. They had simply been waiting until you were strong enough to carry them with intention. The silence was an initiation, and from it you emerged tempered, aware, and ready to step into the magnitude of your role. Your transformation is now visible not only in your spirit but in your very being. The glow others notice is not a trick of appearance but the radiance of alignment. As your energy quickens, it reshapes even the way others perceive you. Those who once underestimated your presence now feel compelled to return, while new faces arrive, drawn to the flame of your unfolding. Yet not all who approach do so with pure intent. Some seek to attach themselves to your rise, masking dependence as loyalty. Others posture as rivals, attempting to match a depth they have not cultivated. What will define your path forward is the wisdom to see through facades and recognize true kinship from hidden hunger. Those who resonate at your frequency will expand your journey, while those who seek only to take will dissolve in the clarity of your perception. This is not a time for shrinking to make others comfortable. It is the era of stepping fully into your brilliance, navigating with discernment, and embodying the unstoppable force you have always been. The truth becoming clear now is that the challenges you faced with money were never random losses or punishments. They were precise maneuvers designed to push you into deeper solitude, the kind of space where your real essence could awaken fully. Each time resources slipped away, each season where security felt out of reach, was not rejection but a necessary recalibration. These moments stripped away illusions of worth tied to possessions, forcing you to uncover the strength of identity without external validation. In that raw clarity, you begin to recognize a power that could never be purchased or diminished. What is shifting next is the way connections and bonds operate around you. The patterns that once allowed others to exert control are dissolving, and the old version of yourself, content with scraps of affection or willing to carry the weight of others' comfort, is gone. Those who thrived on your willingness to sacrifice are unsettled because they no longer recognize the person who now holds firm boundaries. The heartbreaks, betrayals, and lonely nights were all part of the refining process, teaching you to sense truth in an instant and to trust your perception without hesitation. That resilience is now your shield, and it protects you as new relationships emerge, ones that don't drain you but instead match your depth. These new bonds are rooted in authenticity, forged with individuals who also walk the path of self-awareness and courage. The evolution of your relationships is not merely about replacing people but about redefining what intimacy and connection mean. Those who once wounded you played their role by sharpening your discernment and preparing you for the allies arriving now. You no longer crave surface-level companionship. Your spirit seeks recognition from souls who mirror your transformation. These new alliances will not be casual, they will be vital pillars that support the mission you can no longer postpone. They are arriving at the exact moment you need them, creating a foundation that will sustain you as you step into greater visibility. At the same time, a light is breaking across your path, refusing to be ignored. The era of staying hidden has ended, and the influence you carry is ready to touch others in ways that extend far beyond your immediate surroundings. This is not about fame in the shallow sense, but about impact. Every interaction becomes a seed of transformation in the lives you encounter. For some, this will unfold on large platforms, where your voice carries across distances and awakens thousands at once. For others, it will move through quieter but equally powerful spaces, one-on-one guidance, artistic expression, or healing work that alters lives in subtle yet permanent ways. The form of your expression matters less than the courage to stand in it fully. The hesitation you once felt, wondering if your light was too much or your path too heavy, is dissolving because you now understand that the call is greater than comfort. To carry this influence is to accept responsibility, not in the sense of burden, but as a sacred agreement made long before you entered this life. Every hardship, every moment you doubted yourself, was a rehearsal for the moment now approaching. It is natural to feel the weight of what lies ahead, knowing that your choices will ripple into countless lives. Yet, it is equally important to remember that none of this is by accident. You are not here by chance, and you are not unprepared. The very struggles you once resented were the tools that sharpened your endurance, sculpted your perception, and built the inner strength required for this exact moment. You are equipped because you have lived through the exact lessons that forged you. Now the invitation is to walk with boldness into the next phase, not apologizing for the scope of your influence and not shrinking to make others comfortable. The revelations unfolding are proof that your path has always been intentional, that every detour was part of a greater design. What once felt like delay was preparation, and what once felt like loss was redirection. The moment you stand in now is the doorway to your true service, and stepping through it is not optional, it is the fulfillment of the agreement your soul made to shine without restraint. What is unfolding now is the realization that every detail of your journey has been guiding you toward this very threshold. The memories that once made you feel isolated were never random, they were sparks that revealed fragments of your true essence long before you understood them. The bonds that fractured or left scars were not meaningless cruelty, they were the sharpening tools that gave you insight into human nature and the strength to protect your heart. Even the lean seasons, when comfort felt far away, were intentional lessons to remind you that your worth was never tied to possessions. Now, as echoes from the past resurface, the truth of what you always sensed is being confirmed. Some return with regret, others attempt to rewrite their part in your story, and your sharpened awareness makes it impossible to be deceived again. Compassion remains, but the old cycle no longer has power over you. The energy surrounding you is intensifying in a way that cannot be confined to one area of life. The pull you carry is magnetic, and it is drawing in opportunities at a pace that seems unreal. Coincidences no longer feel coincidental, they are signs of alignment that even skeptics around you struggle to dismiss. Doors that were closed are unlocking, paths once hidden are clearing, and the right allies appear precisely when you need them. This orchestration is not chance, it is the natural response to living in alignment with the truth of who you are. When your energy reaches its authentic rhythm, the world reshapes itself to mirror that frequency, dissolving barriers that once felt immovable. With this expansion comes the necessity of sharper boundaries than ever before. The sensitivity that allows you to read subtle shifts in energy has grown stronger, and it now requires you to safeguard your space with greater precision. In the past, you may have carried others' burdens as if they were your own, mistaking sacrifice for love. Now you see clearly that taking on the lessons of others robs them of their growth and drains your own momentum. Protecting your energy is not selfishness, it is stewardship of the power you've been given, ensuring it is used for creation rather than depletion. The skills and talents that are awakening within you are not separate compartments of ability, they flow from the same well of spirit. Whether through artistry, strategy, healing, or vision, all these expressions are variations of one source seeking to manifest through you. Every impulse to create, share, or build is part of a larger design to raise collective awareness. Trust that the sparks of inspiration appearing now are not distractions but instructions. Even if you cannot yet see the full form of where they lead, they are threads pulling you into the contribution only you can make, one that no other soul is able to replicate. Of course, stepping into greater influence does not go unnoticed. There are structures and individuals who prefer to keep others diminished, and your rise naturally unsettles them. Their resistance is not personal, it is the reaction of systems threatened by the presence of someone they cannot contain. Attempts to belittle your growth or shake your confidence will come, but these are proof that you are creating ripples where stagnation once ruled. Every challenge thrown your way is an unintended signal that your light is shining exactly where it is most needed. Even as you encounter these tests, there is a protection surrounding you that ensures your essence cannot be extinguished. The attacks may sting, the misunderstandings may weigh heavily, but none of it can alter what has already been set in motion. Your strength does not originate from external approval, and your power cannot be stolen or diluted. It arises from a source beyond reach, untouched by fear or manipulation. No matter what forms opposition takes, its efforts remain temporary illusions against the permanence of your truth. This chapter marks not just a new phase, but the unveiling of who you've been becoming all along. The orchestration is no longer hidden, it is visible in every alignment, every connection, and every surge of inspiration. You are no longer walking blind through uncertainty, you are moving with the awareness that your journey has always been purposeful. Every detour, every hardship, every unexpected shift has been the architecture of destiny, constructing the unshakable foundation you now stand upon. The path forward is illuminated, and all that remains is to step fully into it without hesitation. What once felt like solitude has now shifted into deliberate choice, and the emptiness that used to weigh on you has transformed into clarity about who truly belongs in your space. The need to connect with everyone has dissolved, replaced by a desire for depth over numbers. Relationships are no longer about filling silence, but about resonance. You now see that the people aligned with your growth bring a richness worth waiting for, while the old patterns of settling for less are no longer possible. This refinement of standards is automatic, a natural result of your rising self-regard. The very things that once left you restless now seem irrelevant, while what you once thought unattainable feels like the most obvious outcome. The changes appearing in your outer world, better health, stability and resources, supportive relationships, are more than just pleasant shifts, they are signs of alignment. These gains are not rewards for endurance, but tools meant to sustain the path opening before you. The energy you receive now is entrusted to you with purpose, asking that it be used for more than self-indulgence. As your influence grows, temptations will arise to craft a version of yourself designed for acceptance. Yet, what truly moves others is not perfection but honesty. It is the courage to be seen in both your strength and your struggles that makes you magnetic, not the polish of an idealized mask. The visions and insights arriving more often are not for your ego but for the greater path of those walking beside you. You are not meant to stand above others, but to provide markers that help many navigate through shifting times. The glimpses you receive of what is coming are meant to guide, not to elevate. And as you step into this role, you will encounter others carrying similar keys, though each unlocks a different door. These connections will reveal themselves as allies, weaving together networks of visionaries who amplify each other's impact. The solitude that shaped you is now making way for unions of extraordinary depth and purpose. The crossing point is here, where all the currents of your life meet in a single turning. The quiet influence you carried within is preparing to surge forward in full force, leaving you with no room for hesitation. The magnetic field of your being is intensifying to such a degree that neutrality is no longer possible. The momentum has reached a tipping point, and the only options are to embody your expansion or retreat into a version of yourself that no longer fits. Time itself has aligned to demand action, making delay impossible. This convergence is reshaping every area of your world. Bonds that can grow with you will strengthen, those that cannot will naturally fall away. Circumstances that once constrained you will either evolve into abundance or disintegrate altogether. Creative impulses that used to simmer quietly now insist on being expressed, refusing suppression. Holding on to outdated versions of yourself is no longer an option, for that identity served only as a temporary skin. The new form you've stepped into cannot be contained by what once defined you. The influence of your intention is no longer sporadic or uncertain, it is deliberate and precise. Your relationships are becoming sanctuaries rather than battles, and the support they bring amplifies your mission instead of draining it. The material flow entering your life stabilizes into a foundation that funds your purpose, not vanity. And when acknowledgement from others arrives, it lands differently. It is no longer the source of your worth, but a mirror reflecting what you already know. As people from your past circle back, their presence becomes a clear indicator of how far you've traveled. Their attempts to repeat old cycles falter, for you no longer vibrate at the same level. Some return with sincerity, humbled by what they failed to see. Others cling to denial even as the evidence of your transformation becomes undeniable. Either way, their role is the same, to remind you of the distance between who you were and who you have become. In this stage, your creative output carries such raw authenticity that it calls forth the exact people meant to receive it, no force required. Looking back, you begin to understand how every delay was a shield, every loss a redirection, and every hardship the preparation necessary for this arrival. The recognition, the purpose, the fulfillment were never missing. They waited until you were ready to hold them without losing yourself. The shift you're undergoing isn't limited to your own expansion. It's a signal rippling outward, affecting countless others who are tuned to the same current. What is awakening in you is not an isolated event, but part of a synchronized movement rising across humanity. You stand as a stabilizer within this surge, a living reminder of what is possible when someone embraces their true essence. The timing of your emergence is not accidental. It aligns with wider transformations unfolding across the collective. Where many remain entangled in loops of distraction, you are stepping into a role that demonstrates what it looks like to embody higher awareness in ordinary life. This is not about being flawless or superhuman. It is about showing that what was once dismissed as fantasy is actually the natural state of human potential. The ability you carry to shift your energetic presence has been with you all along, though it was once unconscious. As a child, you adapted in order to survive environments that couldn't meet you fully. In youth, you adjusted your intensity to avoid further rejection. In adulthood, you muted your brilliance so others would feel less threatened. But now, this same adaptive gift becomes refined into conscious mastery. You can enter any space, whether structured, creative, intimate, or spiritual, and adjust your vibration without losing your authenticity. This is not about pretending or bending to please. It is about holding command of your energy so you can function across diverse environments while remaining rooted in truth. The quiet years you endured were more than a pause. They were the forge that built your capacity for the role you now inhabit. Those months of stillness allowed your system to recalibrate so that you could carry greater intensity without collapse. In that solitude, your emotions grew steady even as your awareness deepened, and your mind learned to parse truth from illusion with sharp clarity. This training period equipped you to hold the attention of many without being drained by it. Now, as your presence draws people seeking healing, guidance, or inspiration, you can offer freely without dissolving into their expectations. The strength you carry today exists because of the preparation hidden in yesterday's isolation. The magnetism surrounding you is undeniable, and it stretches into every kind of connection: romantic, creative, collaborative, and spiritual. What others perceive as attraction is, in truth, a recognition of the life force you now embody. When someone anchors their power within, the radiance is impossible to ignore. But this also means you draw on both those who are aligned and those who only crave what they don't yet understand. The difference between the two is not something to be figured out in theory. It is felt immediately in the body. Your instincts know who enhances your field and who would siphon from it. Trusting those instant signals protects you from entanglements disguised as opportunities. The power of discernment becomes your compass in this new stage. With invitations multiplying across personal and professional arenas, the temptation to analyze every offer will arise. But overthinking clouds the clarity your intuition provides effortlessly. The truth is always visible to you beneath the surface, whether someone approaches from authenticity or from emptiness. Remaining attentive to those visceral impressions saves you from detours that would otherwise drain your energy. Each choice rooted in instinct keeps you aligned with the connections that expand rather than contract your purpose. What you now understand is that your adaptability, solitude, and rising magnetism are not random threads but parts of a single woven design. They've been working together in the background, preparing you for a moment when your influence can no longer remain private. You are stepping into visibility not as an accident but as the fulfillment of what your path has been pointing toward all along. The preparation may have felt harsh, but it sculpted you into someone who can hold power without distortion, attention without ego, and connection without dependency. Not every door that opens is meant for you to walk through, and the brilliance of your evolution lies in knowing the difference. Some offers glitter with promises of success yet come bound with chains that would suffocate your freedom. Circles that seem glamorous on the outside may only thrive by draining the authenticity of those within them. Even spiritual spaces can mask hidden competitions that dim rather than ignite your fire. The strength you are building now comes from refusing what does not honor your path, even when it looks appealing. It means trusting your instinct above the opinions of others, and accepting that disappointing someone else is often the price of remaining true to yourself. The creations flowing through you are not simple projects, they are living transmissions encoded with the power to awaken dormant aspects in others. Whether they take form as inventions, expressions, teachings, or movements, they carry frequencies that stir transformation in anyone who encounters them. Some will ripple into the collective, reaching countless lives, while others will touch a few individuals yet spark waves of change that expand far beyond what you may ever see. Both scales matter equally, for each expression contributes to the larger evolution unfolding across humanity. The increase of resources in your life is not payment for suffering but an investment made into the work your soul has come to deliver. As this flow of prosperity deepens, how you relate to it becomes vital. Wealth is not a trophy of status but a current of energy meant to circulate. To treat it as spiritual currency rather than personal proof ensures it amplifies the purpose it was given to you for. This doesn't mean self-denial or forced sacrifice, it means remembering that true abundance expands impact rather than feeds vanity. In embodying this, you dismantle the outdated belief that higher consciousness and material well-being cannot coexist. You become a living model that shows prosperity can remain pure when it is tethered to mission rather than ego. The unseen guardianship around your life reveals itself in subtle but unmistakable ways. Sometimes it shows up as delays that keep you from entering contracts that would have trapped you. Other times it appears as revelations of someone's true character before you've given too much of yourself. This shield extends not only to circumstances but to your very energy field, which grows more impenetrable as your essence stabilizes. What once pierced you now bounces off with little effect, for the endurance forged through hardship has solidified into natural armor. Knowing this protection is present frees you to move with openness rather than defensiveness, secure in the truth that anything not aligned with your highest trajectory will dissolve before it can touch you.